Today is a full body workout with essentially no props, except for I will be using a dowel with some of my bar work today. You don't need a dowel if you have anything from a broom to a mop handle. You can definitely play around with that, but like I said, you can do all of this without any props. So to get started, to warm up, let's just stand. Feet sit bone distance apart. Take a deep breath. Inhale, raise both arms up to the sky. Exhale, nod the chin to the chest. Curl your spine all the way down. You can soften your knees. Bring your hands to the mat and then slowly walk yourself out to a plank. Push the floor away, scoop the low belly up, get a little strength in your legs, especially around the glutes and thigh bones. Start to scoop the belly as you walk your hands back towards your toes, soften your knees, curl your tail, and roll yourself all the way up. And let's repeat that. Arms go up to the sky. Inhale, exhale, round your spine, soften the knees. Roll all the way down, hands to the floor. Walk yourself out to a plank. Maintain your plank for just a bit. Let's see if you can just start to pull the low belly in. Feel those strong arm bones push the floor away. Separate your fingertips wide. Strengthen the muscles around your thighs, around your glutes. And then slowly curl the chin to the chest. Walk your hands back. When your hands get towards your toes, bend your knees, curl your tail, roll yourself all the way up. One more time like that. Raise the arms up. Inhale, exhale, curl the spine. Soften your knees if you need. Walk yourself out with control. And so when I mean control, that means your hips don't wobble from side to side. Stay here. Push those arm bones down into the floor. Pull the ribs into your shoulder blades. Scoop the low belly up to your back. Strong through the fingertips, through your palms. Curl the chin to the chest. Keep scooping the belly. Keep your hips in that line as you roll yourself all the way back up. So now we're going to do just a different version of that. Arms up to the sky. Inhale. Let's squat. Bend your knees with a straight spine. Now just tip yourself forward to bring your hands down and walk yourself out from there. So we kept a neutral spine, right? And to get back, you're going to go back into bending your knees, bending your hips. We find that squat and we stand ourselves up. Lift the arms up. Inhale. Squat down. Bring your hands to the floor, walk yourself out. So this is a good option for those of you who do not want to round your spine. Anybody with osteoporosis or any type of back injuries or whatnot, if you would prefer not to round your spine, this would be a great option for you to walk out to a plank. Hold out there, squat through your knees and through your hips to come back. We're maintaining a straight spine the entire time. One more time. Bend your knees. Your heels may lift. That's fine. Walk yourself out. Find your strong plank. Push yourself back by squatting through your knees, through your hips, and come all the way up. And rest those arms down. Give yourself a big shoulder roll. So we're going to come all the way down one more time and stay down there. You pick your favorite on how to get down, whether you round your spine or whether you squat down. Either way, walk yourself all the way out. Come down to your knees and then lower your entire body down to the floor. So we're going to start to warm up the back side of your body. So when you're all the way down on the mat, go ahead and have your legs sit bone distance apart, arms reaching overhead to a Y or to a V position, nose just hovering the mat. Let's lift the right arm and left leg off the floor and then rest it back down. Now lift your left arm and right leg off of the floor and rest it back down. We're just going to alternate that slowly, just getting the back side of your body warmed up. So the shoulder blades, the glutes, and think of drawing an X with your muscles on your back. So as you lift one arm, you're lifting because that shoulder blade is literally gliding down at a diagonal towards your opposite back pocket. So you can feel your muscles going across like a diagonal, like you're drawing an X on your back. And you should feel your back muscles turning on. It shouldn't be painful, but you should feel them working. And it's okay to feel back muscles work. We need those muscles to work. We just don't want any sharp pains or anything above just that nice working, turning on feeling. Let's do a couple more. Last two. And last one. Now let's keep your feet down. Your arms are going to start overhead like they are at this Y position. From here, float your upper body up into a soft, small extension as you bend your elbows to a W and then reach back down to that Y or to the V. Let's do that again. You lift your chest off the mat, bend your elbows so your arms make a W position, and then come back down with your spine, reach those arms back to the V overhead. Let's go a little bit faster and reach overhead. So as you come up into your soft extension, you're bending your elbows towards your ribs. As you come down with your extension, your arms reach overhead. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale up, exhale lower. 2 more times, opening the chest, lift and lower. Let's do 1 more. And reach back overhead. Now stay here, just wobble your hips from side to side. Just get a nice little low back stretch, twist there. And then place your hands underneath your shoulders and sit yourself back into a child's pose or stretch position. Let's walk both hands over to the left side, right hand on top of your left hand, and feel that nice stretch through the right side of your body. Feel like you're opening and separating your rib cage. And let's walk both hands over to the other side, left hand on top of right hand. And now breathe into your left lung and see if you can feel each rib stretching apart from the other. And coming back to center, we're going to come on to all fours. So on your hands and knees, still warming up, let's separate your fingertips nice and wide. Push your strong arms down, curl the chin to the chest, curl the tail, scoop the belly up into cat pose. And then softly release into cow, your extension, lifting your tail, lifting your chin. And do that again. Scoop the low belly, curl, push your strong arms down into the floor, curl the tail, curl the chin, and round through the spine. And then as you inhale, lift the tail, lift the chin, go into a soft extension. 1 more time each way. Curl the tail, curl the chin, push the strong arms into the floor to stretch between your blades. And then slowly come out of that into your cow. Now let's find a spot in between those two extremes. So now you're neutral. So still strong arms pushing away. We don't want to let our chest sink down to the floor, right? So think of your front of the rib cage pulling to the back side of your body. Now from here we're going to wag the tail. The tailbone is going to wag to your left as you look over your left shoulder. So we're going into a side bend. Just be careful that you don't dump the belly here. And then extend and stretch back to neutral. Go the other way. Your tailbone's going to wag to the right as you look over your right shoulder like you're trying to look at your tail. And then you gently reach back to center. Keep going with that. And go to a range of motion that you don't, like I said, drop the belly or pooch the belly or the rib cage, right? You want to keep the low belly intact as you go side to side in this bending position of your spine. Let's do 1 more each way. So scoop the belly, knit the front of the ribs before you do the side bend and feel that stretch differently. And then come back through center. Last time, wag the tail to your right, look over your right shoulder, pull the front of the body up into the spine. And then coming back to center. Go ahead and sit back, child's pose, stretch. Good, now come forward to all fours, tuck your toes under, press your hips over your heels, stretch into that downward facing dog, and then carefully walk your hands towards your toes and roll yourself all the way up and give yourself a big shoulder roll at the top. So let's warm up the arms a little bit more specifically your shoulder rotators. And so because we are going to hold on to this pole later, you have to have some range of motion in your shoulders, and I just want to warm them up for you. So standing with your feet sit bone distance apart, nice and light in your toes, let's reach those arms out and stretch them out as far as you can to the side walls and start little itty bitty circles. And so the goal here is to circle the arms without doing a lot of rocking with your entire body, right? So soft knees, soft toes, little bend in the hips, scoop the low belly. So it's like that feeling when we were holding a plank, right? You're really strong in your entire body, but we're circling the arms, trying to hold this really strong, tall body like we are in a plank. Good, let's be here for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Stay up here with your arms, circle the other direction. And so same thing, can you feel your body kind of want to wiggle and wobble with those arm circles? Keep it nice and still. Feel your entire torso, all the muscles that wrap around your waistline, hold nice and tight so there's not a lot of wiggling with your torso, with your body. Soft knees, soft feet, soft hips. As you circle those arms, really stretch out of them. So we're not squeezing or pinching the blades, our shoulder blades. We're keeping space between the shoulder blades. And you can think of making the front of your body across your collarbones, across your chest, just as wide as the back of your body across the shoulder blades. Let's be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, hold your arms up there, turn your palms up, soften your elbows, and just little ups, right? So we're lifting the arm bones up and down, but we're not letting the shoulder blades hike to our ears, okay? So as the arms go up, just think shoulder blades melt down. So it's kind of hard to think about this, but your shoulder blades are actually doing a little rotation on the backside of your rib cage. So if your shoulder blades were little radio dials, they'd be quickly turning up and turning down. They're rotating, right? Let's be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, hold those arms up. We're going to go down like little wings, right? So your palms are facing downward and you're squeezing like you're trying to stay afloat in the air, in the space, like a little bird. So think of your upper arm bones pulling downwards towards the floor. And again, we are rotating your shoulder blades. So those little radio dials are now rotating in the opposite direction, but still think of them quickly turning up and turning down on the backside of your rib cage. Let's be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now hold. We're going to do salt and pepper arms. So the right thumb is going to twist down as the left thumb twists backwards, and switch and switch. So in this particular rotation, we are rotating the upper arm bones inside your shoulder cuff. So feel that. You might get a little rib cage rotation. And so feel that rib cage rotation. That's totally fine. Feel the spine rotation. Get into it a little bit. And the thumbs are going in the opposite direction. So your arm bones are internally and externally rotating for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We're keeping our arms up, both palms face forward. We're moving it forward, right? So it's like hug a tree in Pilates reformer, right? But we're not going all the way forward. We're just going a couple inches. Soft elbows. Feel like you're going to wrap your arms around a really big tree, and it's so big that you can't touch your fingertips all the way around, but you're going to get partially around, and it's little pulses. Soften those knees. Make sure that we're not standing here really locked. So soft knees, soft feet, soft toes. Soften in those hips. Nice tall spine. We're here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. You're holding your arms up. Palms back, push away. Like you're pushing the back wall. And now especially on this one, make sure that your torso is staying pretty still. Now this is getting tiring with our shoulders, that's the point, but we want to make sure that our shoulder blades aren't hiking up to our ears. So they're staying down. You're feeling between the shoulder blades in this one. We're not pinching, but we're working it right between the shoulder blades. Press back. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes, your arms are staying up. You soften those elbows, flex your wrists so your palms are pushing the side walls away. Push, push, push. So think of the palms of your hands, not necessarily your fingertips, but the palms of your hands shoving the walls wider apart in your room. Press here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, we got to turn palms down. So now our palms are facing into our bodies and we're pushing our outer wrists to the side walls. Elbows soften and bend. It's really small. We're here 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. We have one more. We're going to do figure eights. So draw figure eight on each side wall with each hand. And it's essentially your upper arm bones that are doing the rotation, not really your hands, not really your wrists, but feel your upper arm bones, how they can do the figure eight inside of your shoulder cuff. Let's be here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Rest. Give yourself a big shoulder roll. Feel those upper arms, feel those shoulders. Go the opposite direction with your shoulder roll. Good, so now we're going to pick up our poles. Now that we stretched out your rotators, or tighten them up, I'm not quite sure which one, but we're going to grab your poles this pole is eventually going to go on the back, on your spine, just to kind of show you where you are in space. Sometimes we think we're neutral, but we're not quite there. So this pole will keep us honest if you have one. We're going to start with just a wide squat position. So feet wide apart, a little bit turned out. Let's hold the pole wide as well, a little bit wider than shoulder distance. We're going to bend our knees, come down and lift the pole overhead, and then come all the way up. The pole goes down. So if you have a pole, you can use it. You definitely don't need it. You can always use a towel and hold the towel end to end. You can use a flex band, right? Just use your imagination. Down and back up. So as we're still stretching out those hips, right? So as you go down, think of your knees turning out. And as the knees turn out, you want to think of them turning out in line with your second toes. So we don't want the toes to be overturned out, but we also don't want the knees to be overturned out, or vice versa, turned in. So can you track your knees right in line with your second toes as you come down? Let's come down and hold. Now hold your squat. We're going to do some side bending. The arms stay overhead. Your head stays in the middle of your pole as you side bend right, and then you come back to center and go the other direction. So we're just holding our squat as we do a little side bend, stretching out the waistline. Keeping your pelvis where it's at in space, shoulders down, your head stays directly in between your arms, and we're just getting your spine and core warmed up. Let's do one more each way. Last time. And then when you come to center, hold. Wiggle your toes a little bit. We're going to pulse your hips down an inch, up an inch, down an inch, up an inch. Feel your thigh bones, how they can move inside your hip sockets. Your hips, your pelvis, is literally just going up and down like an elevator, straight up and straight down, right? It's just an inch. Keep it small. Try to take the grippiness out of your toes. Notice where your body is in space, right? We want the ribs to be right over your pelvis. Sometimes when we get tired, we jet the ribs forward. Shoulders relax down. Let's be here for 3 more. Last 2. And 1. Come all the way up. The bar comes down. Heel toe your feet back in. Give yourself a big shoulder roll. We're going to go into lunging. So I'm going to stand facing side. Feet are sit bone distance apart. Let's start with your left leg going back behind you. Take a big step. As you come down into your lunge, lift the pole up. Come up into your lunge and step it forward. The right side, step it back. Bend both knees. Come up and forward. Other side, left foot steps. Bend both knees. Come up and step forward. Keep alternating. The trick with lunging is to step back far enough. If you don't get a big step back, you're going to be really wobbly when you come down into your lunge because you'll be too close with your feet towards each other. And so you can think about it is trying to get to a 90-90, right? So as you bend both knees, you're at a 90 degree in both legs with that knee flexion. So let me show you what it looks like if you don't step back far enough. Let's just say you go here and then you're trying to bend. Look how close my knees are together and I'm no longer in that 90-90 and it's really hard for me to balance. So you want to really step back, bend both knees, get to that 90-90 position. Think of your pelvis going up and down like an elevator, like we always talk about, your spine staying right over your hips. We're going to add on. Step your left foot back, hold. Come down, lift the bar up. Now from here, keep your lunge, twist your torso to your right, and then come back to center. Stay there and do that again. Twist to the right. We're twisting towards our front knee. 3 more times. Twist to the right. And center. 2 more times. Twist to the right. And center. 1 more time. Twist towards that front bent knee. Come back to center. Step your back foot in. Lower that pole. Give yourself a big shoulder roll. Other side. Right foot steps back. We come down into our lunge. The pole goes up. Stay tall. Twist to your left. And come back to center. Keep your lunge. Twist to your left. And so the only thing twisting are our ribs, shoulders, head, and arms. Your pelvis and legs stay really still. I think we have 3. I might have miscounted. I tend to do that a lot. And 2. One more. Twist to your left. You're holding your lunge. You come to center. You come back up. Give yourself a big shoulder roll. We're going to alternate that. So left foot steps back, pole goes up, you come down and twist right. Take your time, come to center, step back up. Right foot goes back, come to your lunge, twist to your left. You come to center, you step back forward. Left foot goes back, pole goes up, you lunge. Hold your lunge as you twist right. You come to center and step forward. So find a pace that is right for you. If you want to totally take it down into pieces, that's completely fine. So that is the left foot goes back. Then you can lift the arms. Then you can lunge. Then you can twist. Then you come back to center, straighten the legs, step forward, pole comes down, right? Right leg goes back, pole goes up, lunge, twist to your left. Come back to center, straighten both legs, step back forward, pole goes down. Or you can take it faster, right? And so just play around with your balance. If you tend to wobble and lose sight of your balance, then take it down into pieces. I'll leave it up to you. We're going to do one more each way. Good, and then come all the way back up, shake out those shoulders. And let's place the pole now on your spine. And so not everybody has the range of motion in their shoulder girdle. So if this doesn't work for you, then just do it without the pole. But basically your right hand, or your left hand, either one, we can switch in between, is going to reach around and grab onto the pole by your neck. And your left hand, your other hand, is going to reach around and grab onto the pole by your low back. So the hand that's up, the palm is facing your spine. The hand that's low, the palm is facing behind your body, right? So from here, feet zip bone distance apart. We're going to stay tall against this pole, and can you lift your heels? And then right back down. So if you go from the side, the goal is that you're lifting straight up with that pole. So we're not tipping forward, we're just going up and down with the heels, keeping our neutral spine along that pole. Let's do 4 more. And like I said, if you don't want to do the pole, just get rid of it. It's just kind of a nice little prop to feel if you're in neutral. So your tailbone should be touching the pole, the back of the ribs, and the back of your head. The space should be between the pole and your neck and the pole and your low back, right where your hands are. Let's do 1 more and hold. So now stay here with your heels up. Let's see if you can plie, bend the knees, come down a little bit. Yep, and then come right back up. And then set your heels down. So if you want to just do the plie without lifting your heels, that's fine. But otherwise, we're going to lift the heels, plie, bend your knees, bend your hips. Come back up and lower down. And again, lift the heels, bend your knees. The heel lift is just an option. Straighten up and lower down. You lift the heels. You bend the knees, bend the hips, go down that elevator. You go up the elevator and back. Lift the heels, bend the knees, bend at your hips. Keep those heels lifted, maybe not. Jinx myself, come back up, lower the heels. Let's do 2 more. Lift the heels, bend your knees, straighten the legs, lower the heels. 1 more time. If you can keep your heels lifted, do so. Hold, stay here. You're going to go up an inch with your body and down an inch. Up an inch and down an inch. So small little pulses. If you can keep your heels lifted, do so. If you want to lower the heels, that's fine. You can always hold on to a wall or a table. But as we do these little pulses, can you be equal across the big toe to little toe mound of your foot? So we're not rolling out to the pinky toe side. Sometimes we tend to do that, especially if we have bunions. Let's do 3 more. Just little pulses controlled. Find your spine, 1 more time, and all the way up and rest your heels down. Let's shake out those shoulders. If you've been holding that pole, you're going to need it. And so for our next set, we can just hold the pole. We don't necessarily have to have it along our spine, but we're going to do a wide squat. So let's go back into one of our initial positions with your heels Wider toes are turned out, and remember when you bend, your knees are going to be in line with your second toe. Holding on to that bar, let's lift the bar out in front of you, bend your knees and come down into that squat. Stay here. Can you lift your right heel without moving your pelvis? And then let's pulse down here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, hold on 1, set your right heel down, lift your left heel, and pulse 10, 9. Can you stay in the ball of the big toe, right? Oh, I gotta lift my pole up. I kind of forgot about that. Let's be here for 3, 2, 1. Set your left heel down, come all the way up. We're gonna do that again, and I want you to feel where your thigh bones meet into your hip sockets. The goal is to dig into there, right? Let's lift that pole up. This time, can we go overhead with the pole? Let's bend your knees, come down into that plie, that squat. Lift your right heel. Be sure that the big toe ball mound is still touching the floor and you have a little bit of pressure in it. And let's sink down just to that pulse. Think of your right sit bone going down towards the floor to really dig into that right hip socket. Let's be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set the right heel down, lift the left heel up. Now think of the left sit bone going down towards the floor as you pulse. You still have weight into that big toe ball mound of your left foot. Good, let's be here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Set your heel down, come all the way up. Give yourself a big shoulder roll. Heel toe your feet towards each other, kind of shake it out. We're going to go back into that 90-90 lunge. So I'm going to face the side so you can see. We're going to be turned out though, so it's a little bit different. It's called fourth position. So feet are sit bone distance apart. Step your left foot back. Come down to that 90-90 position, right? We've been here before. So now first, turn your right toes out, right heel inwards. So you're kind of turned out there. And now turn your back leg out as well. So your heels should be kind of on the same line. Your knees are apart like a little duck. So from here, can you pulse down an inch, up an inch, down an inch, up an inch? Your back heel will stay lifted off of the floor the entire time. So we're just in a lunge position, but we're turned out. You have 5, down 4, down 3, 2, 1. Stand all the way up, step your feet together, and let's switch sides. The right foot, so let's start parallel. The right foot steps back. So we turn the left toes out, so you're turned out in the front leg, and then turn out that back leg. So your heels ultimately should be in the same line as each other. Lift that pole up. Bend both knees, come down into that turned out 90-90 lunge position. You pulse down an inch, up an inch, down an inch, up an inch, down and up. Remember your pelvis, spine, shoulders, and head go down and up like an elevator. You're bending your knees outward. You're turned out for 4, 3, 2, 1. Stand all the way up. When you step together, you should be heels together, toes apart, right? Because that's kind of how we were just in that 90-90. So now bringing that pole back behind you. If you want to switch hands, you can. It kind of feels weird when we switch, right? Everybody's got a comfortable spot with this. So now I have my left hand where my neck is and my right hand where my low back is. My upper hand palm is facing inward to my spine. My lower arm, the palm is facing outward. So now going back into your plies, let's do turned out. Heels together, toes apart. You're going to lift your heels up, keep them together, and lower the heels down. We're going straight up, lifting the heels, zipping from heels to sit bones and down. So we're not going to go up quickly where our heels come apart, right? That's too much. That's too fast, too high. So control it. You should feel the muscles zipping from heels to your sit bones to the low belly. Because if we just pop through the ankles, our heels will come apart and we're kind of just pushing through the ankle joint versus using the entire inner leg muscle or sling, right, to lift you up. You should even feel pelvic floor. Feel that low belly, the waistline. Let's do 4 more. Go ahead and lift and float and squeeze. And so can you feel equally right and left side big toe ball mound to little toe ball mound. Squeeze those heels equally together. Let's do 3. And zip. Feel the back side of your body, especially the wrap of your glutes. One more time. Can we lift the heels and stay? Okay, we're going to go into that plie, but we're turned out. You bend the knees, you go down like an elevator, and then you zip and come right back up. Let's do that again. You bend the knees. If you can keep your heels lifted, let's challenge you, right? If you need to set the heels down, that's completely fine. If you need to hold on to a wall or to a stable chair, that's fine too. But I want you to feel the zipping from heels all the way up, inner thighs, glutes. Yes. Let's do 2 more. Go straight up like that elevator. That pole is there if you have it for assistance to keep your nice tall spine. And now on this next one, let's come down and stay. Good, now hold here. Keep your turnout. Scoop that low belly. We're going to pulse down an inch, up an inch, down an inch, up an inch. Straight down like an elevator and up. Can you find the movement equal on the right leg to the left leg? Right hip to left hip. Sometimes we shift our body weight to one side because we're more stable on that side. Can you be equal? Let's be here. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come all the way up. Set your heels down. Release that bar. Shake out those shoulders. Shake out the feet. Wiggle the toes. Nice work. Okay. We're still going to use the bar for one more set. I'm going to turn to the side again. Feet sit bone distance apart. You find whichever position you want with your hands, whichever one is up or down. And so now really important that we find neutral and stay neutral. We're going to go into a deadlift. And so from here, your head touches the pole, the tailbone touches the pole, and the back of your rib cage. Okay, so there's no flaring of the ribs. From here, can you tip? You might need to soften your knees. I know I do. Can you tip forward and then come right back up tall? And so your whole torso, pelvis, tailbone to head, tips as one unit, right? There's no bending in the spine. We bend in your hip sockets. So can you feel how your pelvis just tips over your thigh bones? Let's do this 4 more times. Notice if you soften and wiggle those toes, soften the knees, you get a much better range of motion in the torso, in your spine, or in the hips. 2 more. So your option, of course, is always to keep going with this, with both feet down, sit bone distance apart, stable, right? And practice that. Or what you can do is reach your right toes back behind you. So it's like a little kickstand. Squeeze your right glute. Do the same thing. You tip, and then you come back up. So now more of your body weight is going to be in your left leg, right? Because that right leg is just kind of hanging out back there as a little bit of balance, little kickstand. So when you tip, you're tipping over your left thigh bone. And when you come up, you're squeezing the left glute. And so when you're here, can you feel the pelvis literally tip forward? Soften your left knee. We don't want to lock out that standing leg. Let's do one more, and you're going to hold. Stay here. Keep your tailbone, back of the ribs, and head on that pole. And you're going to bend the left knee just an inch, and then straighten. Bend and straighten. That back leg is just there to hold our balance. It's just a little kickstand. We're just working through the front left leg. When you straighten, we don't lock, right? We're never locking the knee. It's like a little pulse. You bend and then straighten a little bit. Bend and straighten a little bit. So we're working all the muscles around your knee, especially through the thigh and the glute. Let's be here for 3, 2, 1. Now hold. We're not locked, but we're straight. Can you lift the back right leg up just a couple inches? You tap it down, you lift back up. Tap it down and lift back up. Down, up 8. Find your glute, both of them. 7, 6, find that pole, neutral spine. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Set that back foot down, come all the way up and step forward, shake it out. We have the other side to do. If you want to change the position of your hands or get rid of the pole altogether, you can. I like the pole because it reminds you of where your tail is in space. Sometimes we tuck when we're getting tired. It reminds you of where your rib cage is in space. Sometimes we flare when we get tired, right? And so put your hands on that pole, whatever's comfortable for your shoulders, feet sit bone distance apart. Reach your left leg back. It's just going to be there for a kickstand. You tip forward. One side is going to feel a little bit different than the other, as I do. I feel like I'm less coordinated on this side, but I'm still going to do it. Never give up the challenge. So you tip over that right thigh bone and you come right back up. Can you keep your tail, the back side of your ribs, and your head touching that pole the entire time? And so if you have any kind of a hip rotation or hiking or shifting, you will feel it here with this pole, as I do. My hips like to shift to the right, and so when I do this exercise, I feel my tailbone kind of want to sway away from that pole. But I'm going to use my waistline to engage and keep my pelvis in a nice centered location. Let's do 3 more. Notice your foot, how it feels on the ground, both feet. So can you be equal in the big toe to little toe and heel in that front leg? And can you be equal to the big toe and little toe in the back leg? Now on this next one, let's come down and hold. Stay down here and let's bend the front knee and straighten a little bit. Bend and straighten a little bit. So we're just doing a little pulse with that front leg. Can you find your neutral with your body? So tailbone touches the pole, back of the ribs, and the back of your head touches that pole as you bend and straighten a little bit. Keeping equal weight in the big toe and little toe to heel on that front foot, maybe a little bit more in the heel so you can get that glute going. Let's do 2 more. Now hold the straight, not locked, but straight, and lift the back leg off the ground. You tap it down, you lift it up. You tap it down, you lift it up. And so here's where you might feel like you're tipping or twisting or doing something goofy with your pelvis, as I do on this side, but just correct it by finding your core, finding your glute, equal weight big toe, little toe to heel, soft knee. Let's do 2 more. Good, set that back leg down, come all the way up and forward, shake it out. Nice work. So we're going to work the front of the hip next. So from here, I kind of like the pole. I'm going to keep it. If you're getting tired with those shoulders, feel free to ditch it, but it gives you a good indication of your habits. Sometimes we don't notice our habits because they're habits. We do them all the time, right? And so let's place the pole along the head, rib cage, and tailbone. You're going to balance on your right foot. And actually, no, let's do the left foot because we were just on the right. Balance on your left foot. That right foot comes out in front of you. We're just going to bend it up and tap it back down. So your goal is to keep your tailbone touching the pole as you pull the knee past your belly button. And I want you to go past your belly button if you can, because that gets into a whole different hip muscle, right? We can use just the quad, but if you're using only quad, it gets you to about here. If you tap into the psoas, it gets you past your belly button. So the quad only gets you to a 90-degree bend. But if you want to get your knee higher without rounding your spine, you got to tap into that psoas muscle. Let's do 1 more. Good. Now straighten the right leg out ahead of you and try to lift the straight leg. You're not going to get nearly as high. If you do, that's fabulous, but that's not required. But let's just try to lift the straight leg up and down without tucking the pelvis, without changing out of your neutral, right? Find that pole. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Rest. Both feet down. Shake it out. If you want to switch your hands on that pole, go right ahead. Left leg forward. Balance on the right leg. You bend the knee and down. Each side might feel different again, but can you keep your tailbone, rib cage, and head against that pole? And again, this side's always a little tricky for me. Just notice in your own body what's going on. Bending the knee past your belly button. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Straighten it out. Now straight leg, lift and lower. You're only going to lift the leg as high as you can keep your tailbone touching the pole behind you. So we don't want to change the shape of your torso or your pelvis, just the leg moving up and down. Let's lift for 5, lift 4, lift 3, and 2, and 1. Rest it down, shake it out. We're going to do one more each leg with that, but in a turned out position. So I'm going to face you on this one. Again, pole's always there for you. Let's reach the leg at more of like a turned out position, and you're going to bend the knee and tap it down. So now we're just doing this in a turn out, right? Right knee bends like you're going to touch the right knee to your right shoulder. You won't, but just draw that line in your mind and reach down. 5, turn it out. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now keep it straight, keep it turned out, lift it out. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, keep it turned out. 4, 3, 2, and 1. How'd you do with your spine against that pole? Hopefully we're still there. Left leg is out, turn it out. We bend the knee and tap down. Bend and tap. Feel how the thigh bone can just move inside your hip socket. Try to keep those hips nice and still. Remember in the beginning when we were on our hands and knees and we were wagging the tail? Remember when we were on our hands and knees warming up and our tailbone was wagging to the right and to the left? Now can you think of that here and try not to wag your tail? Keep your tail pointing to the ground. One more time. Now keep that leg straight, turn it out, lift it up and down, up. And you will feel if you're tighter or getting tired in this side, your pelvis is going to want to deviate to the opposite direction, right? Can you stay nice and tall? Because we're almost done with this standing work. For 5, 4, keep the turn out, 3, 2, and 1. Rest. Get rid of the pole, set it down. Nice work. So now let's do a little bit of mat work. You're going to come all the way down into what I call a mermaid position. So your left shin will be parallel to the front edge if you have a mat, so parallel to the front edge of the mat. Your right knee is going to be bent behind you. Can you move this right thigh back? So your right knee is actually in line with your hip rather than forward, right? That might not happen. Just try it. If you cramp up somewhere and it's not happening, bring the knee where it needs to be. Your hands are going to come around the front left knee. From here, we're going to lift just the foot up and back down. So it's a twist of the thigh bone. The foot goes up to the sky and it goes back down. It's like this internal rotation, right? And if this is not working for you, this position that we're in, this mermaid position, you can always come all the way down, right? And what I would do is just stack your knees. And you can do this here in this sideline position with knees stacked. Still get that rotation. And it's going to free up anything that's really tight and holding you from this position. It's going to free all that up for you to do that internal rotation. So just find what works best. We're here for 4. I want you to feel the muscles around your glute area where your thigh attaches into your hip socket. So that's the muscles that we're going to be working here. Let's do one more. So now from here, can you lift the entire leg up and down? So you might need to lean your body over to the left a little bit more, but I want you to lift truly from the hip muscles, not your back muscles. So we're not lifting from that right kidney area, right, the low back. If you can't get out of the back, you're going to come down onto your side like I showed you earlier, right? So if you want to be here, be here. That frees up that back area if you were really clinching in there. So pick your spot, whatever works for you. We want to get the right muscles working, right? If you're working the wrong muscles, there's no point in doing it because I don't want your back to be screaming at you. Let's do 3 and 2. You're going to lift and hold on 1. Keep it up there. Flex your foot. Now, like your heel is going to push the wall behind you backwards. Push it back. Your leg stays lifted, you're just pushing, like your heel is gonna reach to the back wall and slide it back. It's not a bounce. So can you push something heavy away? Keeping the knee bent, the back knee bent. Find your glute. 5, 4, 3, 2, hold, add them together. Up and back, up and back. 8 and back. Up 7. push back, up 6, push back, up 5, push it back, up 4, and back, 3, the whole leg, 2, back, 1, back, and rest. Let's stretch it out. Pull that back leg around. You can straighten the non-working leg in front of you, and the leg that we just worked, you're going to cross it over and just give a nice little pull towards your chest, open the chest, and that should feel good right around the back of that hip area. Nice little stretch. Stay tall. Pull your chest forward towards your knee. Pull your pelvis, your sacrum forward towards your thigh bone. Try not to round. Get a better stretch if you're nice and tall and neutral. And then release. Let's do that all on the other side. So finding that mermaid. And each side is different. So maybe that side went really well, and this side you're having a hard time getting into position. Come to your side. So leaning forward a little bit, hands on the ground. You'll feel a nice stretch in that leg that we already worked. Start with that rotation. So the foot is going to lift up to the sky, but the knee stays down. So we're internally rotating the thigh bone. We're not moving the pelvis. We're not moving the spine. You're just getting a little twist inside. And just being in this position alone feels really good on the leg that we just worked, right? You should be stretching that bottom side of the hip that we just worked. Let's lift up for 5. Lift up for 4. Feel that rotation right inside the hip. 3 and 2 and 1. Now you might need to lean away a little bit more so that you can lift the entire leg up and down, up and down. Find the freedom to move inside your hip socket. So the thigh bone is moving inside the hip socket. The hips aren't moving. The spine isn't scrunching, right? Find your core to maintain and stabilize your pelvis and spine so that you can truly just move the leg inside the hip socket. You should feel all those muscles around that outer glute. Let's lift 5. Lift up 4. Lift up 3. 2. Lift and hold on 1. Now flex your foot, push it behind you. Little pulses back. But it's a pulse, not a bounce, right? So we don't use momentum. We just do a little like shoving back with your heel. Like there's something really heavy behind your heel and you're trying to push it back towards that wall behind you, but it's heavy, so you have to go slow. And it's very small. Keeping that knee lifted off the floor, keeping the foot at equal height. Push it back. 4. Push it back. 3. Find your core. 2. Now we're going to combo it. You go up and back, up and back. You have 8 and push back, up 7, push back. You should feel the hip opening as you push back. So feel the front of the hip opening and stretching as your glute pulls the heel back. You have 4, up, 3, up, push back, 2, up, push back, 1, and rest. Let's stretch it out. The leg that you were laying on goes straight. The leg that was working crosses over and you pull the knee towards your chest. Sit nice and tall. Think of your low back going towards your front thigh. Think of your upper back going towards your front knee and sit tall, open your chest. Take a breath. And release. Going into some extension again. Lie onto your belly. And we're going to do a little swimming. Legs are a little bit apart. Your hands are right by your shoulders, elbows bent, widen your chest. Go ahead and from here, reach the arms forward. Remember to that Y or V position. Sweep the arms back to the sides of your body as you lift to extension. Bend your elbows, dive back through. So you're swimming. Inhale to come out of the water. Bend your elbows, dive back through. Exhale. Inhale, lift up. Bend the elbows, straighten the arms overhead. Sweep the arms around, bend your elbows, dive through that water. For 3, dive back through. Lift up, open. 2, reach back overhead. 1 more time. And we're going to reverse the direction. So you lift to your extension as you bend the elbows. Straighten the arms back to your heels. Straight arms sweep overhead. Bend the elbows, lift up, reach the arms to the heels. Circle the arms around. Bend the elbows. Straighten the arms to your sides. Straight arms circle around and down. Bend your elbows. Lift up. Sweep it around. 3 more times. Bend. Lift to your extension. Sweep it around. 2 more times. Bend the elbows. Open the chest. Straighten those arms. Sweep it around. 1 more time. Lift your extension, circle the arms around, and rest. Sit back, child's pose, stretch it out. And release. We're going to flip onto our backs, do a little core work, and we're almost done and out of here. So you're going to lie all the way down on your back, feet on the mat. All right, so from here, imprint your low back to the floor, lift your right leg to tabletop, lift your left leg to tabletop, float both arms up to the sky, inhale, exhale, nod the chin to the chest, just a chest lift, curling up, looking towards your inner thighs, and then slowly come back down. Do that again, exhale, curl it up, and slowly back down. 3 more times. Just keeping your legs at tabletop if you can. A nice option is to always just set your feet on the floor and just do the upper body part with knees bent, feet on the mat. 1 more time. Good. Open your arms out to a T, palms up. Let's twist to the right with your hips and knees and pull back to center. Tip to your left and pull back to center. And again, if it works better for you, I gotta adjust my mic. If it works better for you to just keep your feet on the floor, you can do the twisting like so. That's always an option. Otherwise, legs stay at tabletop, and we twist for 4, and center, and twist for 3. Last 2, and 1. All right, so let's twist to the right, whether your feet are on the floor or up at tabletop. Hands come behind your head, you interlace them. Lift your elbows a little bit. Now you're going to keep your torso centered. Only your hips and knees and feet are twisted to the right. You curl your torso up center and you come back down with your torso. Your legs stay to the right. Curl up and down. So the back of your ribs and shoulder blades should be on the floor. But the left hip is lifted in the air because you're twisting your hips and knees to the right. But the upper body, the upper torso, is still at center. So we're not curling to the right with our upper body. We're curling to center with our upper body, with our hips deviated to the right. Let's do 2 more. Last 1. Nice. Set your head down. Now tip your hips to the left. From here, curl it up. So your hips and knees are balanced over on the left hip, right? But your torso is still at center. So you should feel both sides of your ribs and shoulder blades touching the floor, but your right hip is elevated. Notice if you have one side that you like to hike versus lift. So think about when you curl up, does that right hip want to hike up to you, or can you keep it lengthened away and just curl the upper body up? And rest. Bring yourself back to center, place your feet down on the mat, and just rock from side to side. Good, now we're going to keep your hips down, feet down, the pelvis and legs don't move. We're going to draw a circle with your upper body. So from here, we're going to rotate to the right shoulder, curl up, pass through center to the left shoulder, and roll back down. Go that same direction for 4. So now we are rolling a circle with our upper body. For 3, go through that chest lift position and around and down. And 2, just drawing a circle as we curl. 1 more that direction. And when you get down with your head, let's go the other direction. Roll to your left shoulder blade. Pass through center in your curl to the right shoulder blade and down. Roll to the left. Pass through center with the curl to the right shoulder blade and down. 3 more times. Can you just draw a circle with the crown of your head with your curl? Let's do 2 more. Breathe. Your pelvis stays still. The legs stay still. 1 more time before we get super dizzy. And you rest down. Go ahead and hug your knees into your chest and just roll from side to side. Grab onto the back of your thighs, rock yourself up. We're going to do one last one, you guys. We're almost there. Going back into the arms a little bit more, tricep. So on your knees, we're going to come into a child's pose position. Knees are about shoulder distance apart, maybe a little bit closer. Hands outstretched overhead. Walk your hands a little closer together. from here, reach your hands out as far as they can go. They're going to stay here now. You're going to shift your body forward. Keep your hands where they are. Come onto your knees. Your feet can touch. Do a tricep push-up. Bend, push back up, sit back to your child's pose. Let's do that again. So don't move your hands. Don't move your knees. You literally shift your torso forward like your rib cage, your bottom ribs are going to come down to your thumbs, then you press back. So let's think about that. As you shift forward, keep going forward so your hips completely open. When you bend, your ribs come towards your thumbnails. You push back up and down. So think about that positioning. You open your hips entirely. You bend your elbows so the ribs can go down towards your thumbs. You push back up and send your hips back. 3 more times. Open the front of your hips, find your glutes, find your belly, bend your elbows, find your triceps to push up and back. 2 more times. Like a plank from your knees, you go down towards your thumbs with your ribs. Press it back. 1 more time. Open the front of the hips. Get your bottom rib bone to the thumbs. Push back up, triceps and back. Rest, take a breath. Let's come up to your hands and knees. Walk your right foot towards your right hand and just lift the right arm to the sky, a little twist. Set your right hand down, bring your right knee back, other side, left foot towards your left hand, take a twist. Set your left hand down, come back, child's pose, take a breath. Go ahead and stack yourself all the way up, shake out those shoulders, and we will call that a day. Thanks so much.